Sony is going to war with Tencent. Sony suing Tencent for allegedly ripping off Horizon video games. Oh my god, that is Sony's #1 IP. They think that it is, the most important thing ever. Aloy is going to be the face of the company moving forward. The first game sold over 20 million copies. The first one sold over 20 million copies, guys. Okay, everybody clearly loves this game, and Tencent even more so, in so much as they're just fully and totally ripping the game off. Now, this is something that's been going on for a while because, the supposed Horizon Zero Dawn clone was first announced earlier this year or at the end of last year. And honestly, purely aesthetically, okay, you just simply take a look at this stuff, and we'll go back to the nuts and bolts of the lawsuit, but you take a look at the stills, and, well, you can see the similarities, okay? Obviously, key art from Horizon Zero Dawn up there at the top, and then you got Light of Motiram, the game that we're going to be talking about right there, and I can see already, there's clear distinction right there, because, the totally not Aloy chick right there, she's got a little robot companion, she got a little robot deer that's down there. Okay, it's clearly different, and I don't remember in Horizon there being mechanical pelicans, okay, so that's clearly different, okay, and as Grums has pointed out, Sony is suing Tencent over Light of Motiram, calling it a blatant copy of Horizon, and yeah, as you can see, you got Aloy, and then you got the new chick for Light of Motiram, okay, and then you got her down there with the bow, and then, yeah, obviously, then you got the new Tencent protagonist over there. She's got a bow as well, but she also doesn't have leggings, so I clearly see, okay, and you see obviously more of her midriff over there, and she doesn't have the Nikocado avocado face, so I think, and as Grums points out, I don't know, man, it looks like they improved it. I mean, depending on gameplay and, given a little bit of leeway to Tencent and their ability to make a compelling game, or at least fund a compelling game, I'd be more than willing to play the Chinese Horizon as opposed to the Sony Horizon, because Guerrilla, for as much as I really like those Killzone games, Horizon has never once even come close to enticing me. I remember when the game was first announced, and it's like, oh great, boring chick with a bow game. Wow, we're already 5 years late into this trend, and here we are 10 years later. But yes, Sony Interactive has sued Tencent for copyright and trademark infringement in California federal court. Good luck on that one. Accusing the Chinese tech conglomerate of ripping off its popular Horizon series of adventure video games. Yeah, popular is a bit of a stretch, but okay. Sony said in a lawsuit filed on Friday that Tencent's upcoming Light of Motiram, okay, is a Slavish clone. Damn. Or maybe Slavish? Are you trying to evoke, concentration camps that the Chinese have? Okay. Of its games that copy several distinctive Horizon elements and threatens to confuse buyers. Well, yeah, okay, I could say that, just simply memes aside, that looks an awful lot the same, okay? There's definitely some confusion that's going to be there. The color palette, obviously, the mechanical animal designs is yeah, there is quite a bit of crossover that's right there, including, a redheaded protagonist. There's a lot of crossover, but depending on gameplay, I mean, you might have a case with your advertising, but, we'll see. Spokesperson at Tencent and attorneys and spokespeople for Sony did not immediately respond to the request for comment on Monday. Sony released the first game of the Horizon series, yes, Zero Dawn, on the PlayStation 4 in 2017. The games followed a red-haired woman named Aloy as she navigates a post-apocalyptic world populated by human tribes and robotic animals. And then spoilers, oh my god, it was Earth all along. Damn it! Damn you all to hell. Sony said in its complaint that it declined an offer from Tencent to collaborate on a new Horizon game last year. Oh, interesting. A Chinese mega company comes over and says, hey, you want to work on a new project? And then another company's like, nah. And they're like, okay, cool. Just go ahead and take your IP. Where have we heard that before? Everywhere. All the time, and has been happening for years. Tencent later announced Light of Motiram, which Sony said features identical gameplay. That's interesting. You guys have seen identical gameplay? Because I haven't seen any gameplay on this at all. Story themes and artistic elements to Horizon, as well as many other similarities. Sony said the video game's journalists have characterized Light of Motiram as a knockoff of Horizon. Well, I mean, for as much as a games journalist ball-washed Sony, I mean, it's not surprising you could get them to say literally anything that you want, including one who called the game Horizon Zero Originality. Oh, shit, must write for Kotaku. Kotaku with that type of stunning wit. Or now, maybe at the time that they wrote said description, they were working at Kotaku, but maybe now they're probably waiting tables. Sony asked the court for an unspecified amount of monetary damages and an order blocking Tencent from violating its intellectual property rights. This case is Sony Interactive Entertainment LLC versus Tencent Holdings, District Court of Northern California. So yeah, as this has just been announced, just been filed, not a lot of information going on right now, but honestly, I mean, like, I can see the case that is there, okay? And as this has been combed over by much more learned legal minds than myself, I'll be waiting to see what other comparisons pop up and what could potentially end up coming out of this, because that's one thing, man. You have to have a fairly airtight case when it comes to proving this type of defamation, this type of plagiarism, and yeah, there's enough wiggle room, and especially in gaming, as somebody else has also pointed out under here too. It's like Horizon ripped off Enslaved because, yeah, he ended up having an aesthetic, and that's also a play on Journey to the West, which is one of the East's oldest folk tales. So yeah, it depends on how far we want to walk this stuff back, because yeah, I made the joke a little bit earlier in regards to the twist at the end of Horizon, where it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Do the people who, I guess that would be Warner Brothers, do the people who own the rights to Planet of the Apes want to go ahead and sue Horizon on this one? This becomes a very slippery slope when you got two different companies going to war, or at least legal warfare over what can and can't be included in games. And then you go to the Nintendo and the Palworld lawsuit that's going on right now, and well, you just end up finding other parallels that are out there. Because when it comes to Pokemon, like, I understand, like, Legends, ZA coming out later this year, and people think that that's going to be fine or fun or whatever, but in general, Pokemon fans, I'd kind of include myself in that one, at least for a significant period of time, especially with my youth, and then I ended up hopping in, in on and around X and Y generation when the 3DS was really popping. Yeah, I checked back in, I got myself X and Y, and then of course, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Thought those games were fun enough, and then Sun and Moon came out, and I was like, what the fuck is going on over here? This shit sucks ass. But yeah, Pokemon hasn't really evolved all that much. Okay, now they're making some incremental changes, but I thought Scarlet and Violet weren't all that well received. Arceus was fine, but it was very much slighted as being outdated nostalgia bait. And so, at the beginning of 2024, when Palworld came around, it was pretty much, oh, okay, cool. Well, if the Pokemon Company and Game Freak doesn't want to innovate on Pokemon, these guys will, Pocketpair will, and well, they're doing something that you could perceive if you just kind of kink your head to the side and go, well, that's Pokemon, because you capture animals in little balls and you throw them out, but everything that you can do in that game were a bunch of the features that people were demanding in new Pokemon installments never were realized, so somebody else took it upon themselves, and yeah, they plagiarized such art assets and character designs like sheeps and dragons. Like, Pokemon hasn't ever done that before, right? It's not like they wholesale ripped off a bunch of the art design from early Dragon Quest games. No, of course not. But Nintendo makes bizarre change to Palworld lawsuit because this isn't exactly working out well for them. For as much goodwill as they have had with the casting of Legend of Zelda movie, which was quite good and pissed off the tranny activists, which whenever you do that, you're going to get brownie points from me. But in regards to the Switch 2, I mean, that's kind of been more of a debacle than a W, so they really need something. But yeah, going after a game that people continuously and are still playing to this very day after a bunch of different updates, I mean, you just kind of look like petty assholes. You look like somebody who, instead of going against and allowing competition to drive innovation, you're just simply being a dick, okay? So when Palworld was released, its similarities with Pokemon were thrown into question, prompting a lawsuit in which Nintendo claims Pocketpair has copied some of Pokemon's patents. Now, in a lawsuit update after the suit, one patent has been quietly changed. Okay, a lawsuit against Pocketpair ongoing for some time. The two can relate to collecting characters, like using Pokeballs to catch Pokemon, and the other was in relation to smooth switching between riding objects. Okay, Nintendo has changed the latter patent. Okay, something that Palworld, last time we talked about this lawsuit, they ended up removing that feature from the game because of said lawsuit going on. So a few months ago, Nintendo requested a modification of one of its patents within the lawsuit, which has been approved and published. The minor change, the patent was even legal experts confused. Okay, the major change in the addition of even when during the patent explanation, which isn't something usually added in legal documents. Okay, the excerpt of the patent reads, and when emphasis added, any broadening character other than the aerial boarding character capable of moving in the air is currently selecting boarding character, and a first operational input is given when the player character is in the air. The computer causes the aerial boarding character to appear in the virtual space. This causes the player character to board the aerial boarding characters instead of the currently selected boarding character from among the boarding characters, and I'm already reading that. Okay, legal expert Florian Muller, okay, of GamesFray, gave the expert opinion in the ongoing case. I've been following patent litigation for 15 years, and have seen many claims that were amended. I've never seen even when or even if in a patent claim. It's bizarre. It's almost a Hail Mary, a desperate attempt to win by doing something odd. So yeah, even when you have something as analogous as, riding Pokemon, which has been a part of the game for a while, but when it became a lot more overt, when you could, start to directly ride animals across the open world or across the world map itself, like I'm pretty sure that started with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, when you could hop on either Latios or Latias, depending on whatever was in your game. Like if that aspect is directly in Palworld, and even they have a tough time proving that, what hope does Sony have in regards to suing Tencent with light of Motiram? Honestly, it seems desperate because, yeah, the Horizon franchise is fucking dead. Nobody talks about Forbidden West is the second game. You see, it's so forgettable. Like, it paled in comparison. The massive drop-off between the sales of the first and the second one are legendary. And when it was announced, what was it, last year, that you were going to be getting your first ever multi-platform Horizon game with the Lego Horizon game, and it ended up flopping spectacularly on release. Sony looks desperate to keep their queen in the spotlight. But in actuality, if they could just simply innovate, a la Nintendo with Pokemon, you wouldn't have to be so critical. You wouldn't have to be so scared by the competition, because you're giving the people what they want. But instead of giving the people what they want, instead of not making Aloy look like she's setting herself up to be adapted faithfully by Bella Ramsey for an upcoming HBO series, you just simply make a good game with interesting characters instead of having post-apocalyptic lesbians. Yeah, you wouldn't have to fire frivolous lawsuits off, and you could get back to making good, competent games. That's all we want. That's all we want at the end of the day. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.